A unique element of Getting Tight is a real-life case study of a match that Jeff played last December against Francisco Clevet, former number 17 in the world. He still plays well. What's his record, Jeff, against?
Well, and then I learned he beat 10 former number one players in the world.
My goodness. So the first part of this is to understand everything that happened before a ball was even hit in this match. So that's what we're going to cover right now. And for a lot of players, me included as a young player, you know, you can win or lose the match or get so hyped one way or another before you even step on the court and play. So let's set the frame. Let's understand what happened before this big match. Now, Jeff, for most times that you step onto the court as a number one player in the country, you're more of the favorite in the match, but not here. You're much more of an underdog. So give us a little bit of an insight into how this built up in your mind, and certainly with the people that were around and the friends that you had watching this match.
Well, and I think this is something that we all deal with at some point, is people watching, expectations you might have or the team might have, people who may be watching. And so in this case, and by the way, I was 795 in the world when he was 17 in the world. So definitely
at the same moment.
At the same moment,
wow.
You know, I'm in India playing on cow dung, and he's over in, you know, Wimbledon and so forth. But you know, so certainly that was in my mind a resume factor. You know, we sometimes do compare and maybe put people on a pedestal. Now in this case, you know, I'm playing on the court where I won the 45 World Championships, where I won 3 other national titles on that court.
Right, which is at La Jolla.
In La Jolla, my favorite place in the world, La Jolla Beach and Tennis Club, and so I have had success there on that court. And normally I would feel like I'm in my element, and people who come each year to watch, you know, get their seats and they're excited to see some battle. But I did, upon reflection, retrospectively realize that I definitely did have some sort of expectations related to it, and judgment potentially about, as you said, sort of all of a sudden I'm feeling more like definitely the underdog.
Okay, which it would be rare for you.
It is absolutely at this stage in my adult playing career, for sure. So it was interesting. Yeah.
So before the match, before you even step onto the court, you look at the draw, you've made your way through, you've got Clevet. You know, for a lot of players out there, you know, I remember as a young kid as well, it's like, okay, I'm unseeded, I'm doing well, I'm in the semis, and I've got this really good player, possibly the best player in the draw. And a lot of times we can lose the match right there. Our expectation is, I can't beat that player. And the match is over before the 2 players have stepped onto the court. How realistic were your expectations that you could win this match against such a quality player?
You know, I always feel like I have belief. I definitely, you know, believe there's possibility. And there's a difference between believing you will win and you can win. And I think I had a belief, but of course I don't, and I certainly try not to focus on that aspect as we talked about. But so I'm wanting to go out and play my game, as we'll talk about later. But the expectations and judgment were one part of this. And then what we'll realize or see later is the comfort zone, that I think we all fall into a comfort zone in terms of playing the default game that we know and we feel good with and feel some control with. And so I think comfort zone was another aspect of this match.
Okay. So your focus points when you're going out there, he's a lefty. Were you thinking initially, I'm going to go and play my game and see what happens, or, you know, am I going to adjust or get into the match and get a feel for it? What, you know, before you even step out there, what was your mindset?
Well, you know, we had, you know, exchanged an email, you know, and I felt that, as you suggested, sort of going to his backhand and then running him on his forehand, really trying to run him on his forehand was a good play. And it's interesting, we'll talk about how that, you know, sort of transpired, but that was my one tactical play. I'm always really working hard to manage my state and be focus on the right things, be loose, etc. And you know, again, while I had belief I could win, I think that the resume factor did sort of trickle in a little bit, and then the adrenaline. I got an adrenaline shot right before the match started.